Alright guys, hello and welcome back to the next episode of our Konnersport MyTeam career mode. Heading into week number 8 in Monaco, we have an engineering facility department event, so we're going to go ahead and jump right into that. Title sponsor, efficiency study, loyalty, loss of resource points. It's only 50 resource points, we don't really have to worry about that right now. 1400, not enough to get parts for the Monaco Grand Prix. I believe we said that in the last episode. We're going to have to wait till the next episode after Monaco to get our stuff done. I don't believe we can do any activities. We can do one. We can do a fan outreach for 100,000. I think that's what it said. Follow the weekend from our previous finish. Nothing here. Almost there. We might get one after Monaco. Fan rating almost to 2 or 3. Workforce results. Sitting in P5 behind Mercedes. We're fighting Mercedes for the constructors right now for P4. Alpine and Williams tied in set for 6th. As still trying to get our guys on to the top step of the podium. In Jackson, 2 podiums. Callie Mayer, 1 podium. Jackson so close to getting on that top spot. As we're going to be going into the Monaco Grand Prix as Callie Mayer this weekend. So we have the 2nd and 3rd place trophy for our drivers. So we go into the rest of the stuff. Research. I'm still trying to understand this research. That's a lot of stuff that is completed. We don't have the time to get those parts in. Will we have enough money? I don't know. We have improved parts there. We'll go ahead and do the engine cover here. That'll be after Spain. Development here. We have 2. We can do 4. No, we only have 800k, so we have a lot of chassis parts that we can try and do. The energy store cell we could do. And the monocog structure, we still have to do 1 more of those. So we'll do energy cell. We'll get that right before Canada, hopefully. Just depends. And I don't believe we have any more money. We have enough money for that. Is it not letting us? Oh, it's because we have to confirm, that's why. And we won't have enough money for that. Of course I did that. I did that last episode, I believe. Rear floor. We'll do that. We have to confirm all the way through. I'm backing out too soon for it. And then we don't have enough money for aero. So we are behind on parts going onto the car. We're not going to have any parts for this race. We're still behind Mercedes on performance. And Callie has a little bit more aero than Jackson on the car. It looks like Jackson may have more chassis. All right. So, and I believe that's going to be it. Drivers, we're nowhere near any talks for Sonoda yet, so that won't be in this episode. And I believe that is it. That marker is not going away. I don't have the money for these guys. Thank you very much. And I believe that's it for all of the owner tasks. Fan outreach.
Hey, Chief.
Successful.
We've got multiple parts out of research. Don't forget to develop them. We've got performance sitting on the table that we could be getting into the car.
Yeah, I don't have the money for developing those parts, sir. We'll just have to wait and see what happens later in the season. We're going to leave the tire allocation the way it is, and we'll see you guys for the race here in Monaco.
A proper road race, and in the true meaning of the word. That's how Mr. Monaco, the late great Graham Hill, once described this iconic event. The cars we drive have come a long way in the intervening half-century, but still we race on those same public roads beside the Mediterranean. There's no victory more coveted than that of the Monaco Grand Prix. The astonishing Circuit de Monaco is, for all intents and purposes, virtually unchanged since its inaugural race back in 1929. The faster cars of today ensure the 19 corners past the casino and along the seafront remain as thrilling as ever. A 2.1-mile lap here takes us around an entire country, yet never more than inches from the race-ending barriers. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and Callie Mayer completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Norris, Hamilton, George Russell and Ocon, Albon, Bortoletto, Tsunoda and Oscar Piastri, Antonelli, Fernando Alonso, Nico Hülkenberg and Stroll, Jackson, Hadjar, Carlos Sainz and Liam Lawson, Behrman, Doohan, Verstappen and Pierre Gasly picks up the final grid slot. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. Well, it's been a long time since I last worked with you. Good to see you again today. Anthony Davidson. Now, you're the racing driver in this partnership, so tell us about this racing driver. Put us in their shoes. How are they going to be feeling?
Well, you've got to be prepared, Crofty. Before you even step foot inside the car, you've got to know, you've got to have a pre-race game plan. You've watched videos before you get into the car of previous races gone by. You know where you have to place your car if X, Y, or Z happens in front of you or behind you. So having this clear game plan is absolutely essential before you get in the car.
The formation lap gets underway then, and it's going to be interesting today to see how the dry conditions could affect the lifespan of the tyres. So as all the cars reform the grid, the drivers will be hoping to get a strong start. They'll want to earn some valuable points from today's race, with final communications being done with their race engineers, ensuring the planned strategies are all in place.
All right, here are our drivers pulling up to the grid. Number 2 spot to Callie Mayer due to penalties from Max Verstappen, I believe it was, who was in qualifying in Q3. And getting some engine penalties, being pushed back to the very back of the grid. It's gonna be a very hard challenge for Callie to get through that first corner to go up the hill. And we see the rest of the cars. We see Jackson just peeking around the corner from the starting lanes here in Monaco. Hometown hero Charles Leclerc starting on pole as the Alpine pulls up. 5 red lights are coming on. You see Gasly pulling up to the back of the grid there by the timetable, and our 5 red lights are off. We're off to a good start. We're on the faster tires than Leclerc, so we had a better launch. Leclerc has the inside, but we're just too far ahead of him as Callie Mayer for the uphill section. So Norris also side by side with Leclerc, Russell, Hamilton, Leclerc as well behind them. So 2, 3, 4, and 5 are all side by side with Ocon just sitting back there to watch. As now Norris and Leclerc side by side. Leclerc manages to outbrake him here before the hairpin and solidifying himself into P2. There's a little bit of contact here. I believe it was Sainz and Stroll and then Verstappen and Doohan making contact here. As you see a couple two wides there. Jackson sitting in P14. Doohan not doing so great against Verstappen there in the back of the field. Both Alpines having a rough start to this season so far. As we're a third of the way through the season already, as Callie Mayer makes it through the chicane and trying to increase that gap as much as she can to Leclerc. 9/10 is the gap. Norris close behind 3/10, and Hamilton another half second for our top 4, as Piastri is holding off 10th place position ahead of Antonelli, on board with Callie Mayer yet again. And with the setup that we're running, it was very challenging to get the power down and keeping control of the car, trying to get the power down on these faster sections of this track. So going through the grid here, Russell, Ocon, Albon, Bortoleto, Tsunoda we're on board with now. Coming up the hill, Piastri behind as the gap is starting to increase between Tsunoda and Bortoleto. Bortoleto made it to Q3 in the Kick Sauber as we're going through the rest of the grid now. Hulkenberg, Alonso, Jackson there in P14, tailing behind Alonso as we're seeing what kind of tires everybody's on. Most of the grid is on hard tires to start this race, and with how this race went last year's game, I was expecting a red flag, so we went with the harder compound tires as we're jumping through the rest of the grid through the hairpin there. Calimere, you can hear the same component issue that we had in Jeddah. I believe it's the kinetic energy component this time around for Calimere, as we're watching a very nice shot of the pool section. I'm really a fan of the camera angles for this track as we see Leclerc try to track down Calimere, and it's gonna be like this for a few laps where the grid's, it's Monaco, the grid's not going to change, the grid order is not going to change. The only times you're going to be able to get a move is maybe the hairpin and maybe this straight. You can see end of lap 6 here, Calimere making a mistake. Leclerc at 2/10 making a move on the outside. He has DRS, he's going to have battery, he's going to try to make a move. We leave the room on the outside, and that was kind of our mistake, but we wanted to play fair as much as possible. And I don't know if you could hear it, a little bit of tire contact there, you saw it there as we changed angles. Contact between Calimere and Charles Leclerc, and that's going to be basically pushing that gap open as we try to get our feet back down. Norris closing in on Mayer now as we're coming down the hill. So it's Leclerc, Mayer, Norris, top 3, Hamilton, Russell, Ocon, Albon, Bortoleto, Tsunoda, Piastri, top 10. 7 laps into the race, and we're trying to get close to Leclerc again. Maybe we have a chance here through the tunnel, but we have a better chance of closing that gap in Sector 3. Feeling a lot more comfortable in Sector 3 than we are the rest of the track, as this front wing angle is just very nice coming through that hairpin. So we close the gap within a second. Now just right on the line of trying to get a second here as we're trying to close in through the pull section, the nice slow section here. Last few corners, I was expecting this corner here before the pits to be a red flag issue, but this is going to be the issue here. Leclerc putting the power down too hard, and there's just nothing we can do here. See the yellow flag there turning into a red flag, so it's gonna be the first red flag of the season as we go to the replay here. On board with Calimere, no graphics on the screen, so we just pay attention to the corner. The back end steps out, he hits the wall. It's the first red flag of the season. All right, there it is, red flag in Monaco. I was looking forward to this. I just didn't know when it was going to happen, and it ended up being a spin from Leclerc.
Okay, this is essentially a free stop, so let's think very carefully about our strategy for the rest of this race.
I haven't hit any red flags so far this season. So free pit stop on our 2-stop strategy. And that's going to be what our what the new one looks like. Let's take a look here and see. 15 and 16. Do I want to change those to mediums? Try to gain some more tire life, maybe. I didn't add another stint. Why are you adding another stint? Why are you adding another stint on? Remove. Is it because those tires won't make it? Stint 3, hards. Stint 4, remove. And that's probably why. Let's go mediums again to try to gain that position back, but I don't know if that red flag. I saw Leclerc spawning sideways. I gotta stop. Luckily, it was just a front wing issue, but that looks good. We'll go medium hard, and let's get back to this race. All right, quick transition back to the race. Same place we were in the beginning of the race. And it's going to happen all over again. We're going to have a second set of medium tires we're going to be running. So we're going to be running medium, hard with a mandatory 2-stop here. If you guys remember, it's going to be a mandatory 2-stop here in Monaco. Red flag counts as 1. Couple position changes in the back of the field. Alonso overtaking Hülkenberg. Jackson still sitting back there in P14 as we're basically doing the same thing that we did at the beginning of the race, but this time on lap 9. Callie Mayer taking the lead on the faster set of tires. Wheels trying to step out there. A little bit of damage to the wings, to the front wing at least, but it's not registered on our MFD, so we have to basically make sure we're not scraping on the walls. And as we're watching the onboard of Leclerc chasing after Callie Mayer, we did actually have to scrape the front left tire on the walls here and there to just try to keep the tire wear even, because that front left tire is just not giving way, or not wearing out as fast as all the other cars, as we see how fast Leclerc is trying to push through the pool section, closing in, hopefully trying to make a move here on lap 9 to lap 10. Same situation we are in before, trying to take that right-hander. Back end steps out a little bit. Leclerc is going to be close enough for DRS. It's not going to be enough for a pass quite yet, but it's going to be lap 19. Hold 10 laps later. Leclerc is going to try to make a move on Callie Mayer. I don't believe there were any position changes since then, but we take a lot of curb there on the left side. So Leclerc is going to be able to make his move with DRS open. Same situation as last time, making a move on the outside as he's trying to overtake us. But we're going to be moving over to the pits, as you guys can see. Albon, Ocon, and Alonso, I believe, the first ones to make the pit stops. Albon, Ocon, Hülkenberg, Alonso is our stops. So we're trying to keep track of the time table. Leclerc 2/10 behind Mayer, as we're going through the second of mandatory pit stops now, since we had that red flag. So lap 20 of 39, and we already have the first set of pit stops going. So we're going through the grid. Have second now, coming out of the hairpin, down the hill, through the tunnel now. Leclerc still trying to put the pressure on, as the tires are, you know, pretty much in their peak performance point, as we try to push away from Leclerc. But we know Leclerc is going to catch up. It's just a matter of time when we make a mistake and he's going to be able to make a move. But we're hoping to see anybody else coming through on this lap for a pit stop. To see Mayer, Leclerc, Norris top 3. A little bit of a change up here as we go through the grid again. Back to Norris, Hamilton, no, Russell, no, Bortoleto coming through a little bit slower, a little bit of gap, 6-second gap here as Bortoleto's coming in. Tsunoda, I believe, is staying out. That is Antonelli staying out, and Piastri staying out as well. So it's going to be Bortoleto so far for the second set of pit stops. And it's going to be a Williams of, I believe, Sainz. Yes, it is. Coming in as well. Can we get a third car coming into this pit stop? I'm going to go through the rest of the grid and see. So we see Verstappen making up some positions. And that's going to be it. It's going to be Sainz and Bortoleto for the second set of pit stops here on lap 21 as we come back to the fight. And going through the grid here at the hairpin, Russell, P5. The gap between P5 and P6 is about 5 seconds. The top 5 drivers are really pushing to see who can come out on top. But Callie Mayer is going to be at a disadvantage on those medium tires. The other 4 are going to be all on hard tires, as Tsunoda is 5 seconds back. Antonelli, P7. Piastri, Jackson up into P9 now with those pit stops, and Hadjar, provisional top 10 at the moment of 2 iterations of pit stops. We're going to be on board with Russell coming through this final corner before the pit lane to see who else will come in. That's going to be nobody coming in, I believe. Actually, no, it's going to be Callie Mayer coming in. We came in on this lap, ended lap 21, because we just didn't want to nurse these mediums and stretch them out for those hard tires. But it's going to be the first pit stop for our team today for Callie Mayer, and it's also going to be a front wing change, which we had minor damage, but I didn't want to risk it, and I should have risked it because we had a wing damage from the previous lap. And in turn, we're going to be coming out next to Ocon, Verstappen, Ocon, and Gasly right in the middle of the fight, the midfield. So go back to Gasly, who's behind us, trying to catch up to us. And it's just, we got caught in the middle of a midfield fight, and that front wing change did not help us, because this traffic in the long term will not help us against the front runners, because Leclerc, Norris, Hamilton, Russell, those 4 runners are all in hard tires. If you guys remember seeing those white wall tires on them, as we're on board with Jackson now coming through the hairpin out of the tunnel, trying to close in on Piastri, who's yet to pit, Antonelli, who's yet to pit. They're making positions because people have pit already, but we still have plenty of more people to pit for the rest of this race. Now, lap 22 on board with Hamilton. None of these 3 drivers are coming in. Russell's staying out, and they're playing the long game. So Leclerc, hometown hero, leading the race until lap 25. You see Hamilton now is a P2 ahead of Piastri, and then Jackson is P4. That means Russell probably pit, because he's 6 seconds, or he's 3/10 behind Norris. Norris is 6 seconds behind Jackson now, as we're on board with the race leader Leclerc in the pits. He has to serve a 10-second penalty from that red flag, that incident. We crashed into him and we couldn't do anything about it, so they gave the penalty to Leclerc, because he was just blocking traffic, causing a collision. Nobody could get around that. Sorry for the choppiness here. I'm not sure what was going on at the time of recording the replay. But we have Leclerc coming in, Behrman coming in as well, Verstappen coming in as well behind him. So we see a lot of people coming out in battle right now. Mayer versus Ocon. Jackson 8.6, 8.7 seconds behind Hamilton, who's holding on to the lead, playing the long run for Ferrari. As you just see these hard tires getting into temp, it's just very difficult. The end of lap 26 now, we're on board with Jackson trying to chase down Hamilton. 8.5 seconds is the gap. Jackson's going to be coming into the pits as we go to a different angle, and we see Hamilton leading Ferrari in the pits, leading Norris out on the field. Russell P2, 6/10. They're going to be battling for the front for the rest of this race. About 13 laps to go. So we see Jackson coming in for his pit stop onto a new set of mediums. Ocon P5, now P4. Jackson losing positions to Mayer, Albon, Tsunoda, Antonelli, Piastri back down to P11 ahead of Hülkenberg. As we go now to the battle between Callie Mayer and Hamilton, as you just see almost making contact with the wall there, as we have to nurse these tires to the end of this race. Lap 27, now moving on to lap 30, Norris and Russell. 1.2 is the gap between the 2 drivers as we're watching them go through the hairpin. Very interesting battle, because Ocon is 17.2 seconds back behind him, and just nearly a pit stop under a virtual safety car, and that's going to be Norris out of the Monaco Grand Prix. Potentially could have won, as we see Russell stuck in the smoke. We go on board with him. And that's the same thing that happened with Russell with Alonso back in Saudi. He basically got stuck behind the car, smashed into it, but this time he was very cautious in the tunnel. It's Ocon, P3, 18.5 seconds now. So we'll see what kind of onboards we can see with Norris pulling off. You can't really see him, but he's going to be pulling off to that right-hand side. We're back on board with Callie Mayer. See the left and right movement from Callie Mayer. The tires stepping out as everybody's making position gains. Jackson now up into P10. Both Konnersport cars now up into the points with that retirement from Lando Norris. It's not going to help out McLaren. It's going to help out Konnersport. It's going to help out Ferrari. Leclerc back in P9, who's 7/10 ahead of Jackson at the time of crossing the line. Lap 30, Russell, Ocon, Hamilton. Our top 3 here on lap 31. You can see that shifting of the steering wheel. It's going to be coming to the end of lap 31. That's going to be Ocon and Albon. Haas and Williams, those drivers up front, coming in for a late pit stop onto, I believe, what was a new set of soft tires. This is going to be the final order for our top 3. Russell leading 17.1 seconds with a long over the cut. Hamilton P2, Callie Mayer P3 as we're on board for the end of this race. Final lap as a checkered flag is being waved. Like I said, Russell P1 at the top step of the podium, and then Lewis Hamilton in the Ferrari Wrong Ferrari to be on the podium, but he's still scoring for the team. And then it's Callie Mayer P3 here in Monaco for week 8.
We've seen a brilliant display of the Russell hustle. It's George Russell who wins.
And it's always good, Crofty, to get that momentum on your side, and it's really good for your confidence as well. The more confident you are, the further that can take you.
It's what every driver imagines when they start out on their long road towards Formula One. And for our lucky 3 today, here's the podium waiting for them. By George, he was good today. The top step awaits for George Russell. Well, that was certainly an exciting weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for more exciting Formula One action very soon.
All right, there we have it. The results for the Monaco Grand Prix. George Russell starting from B5, getting a major overcut after that red flag and coming out with a win as we were driving as Callie Mayer, if you guys didn't remember at the beginning of the video. And we had a front row start next to Charles Leclerc, and Charles Leclerc brought out the red flag with that spin on the final corner. I was expecting the red flag to come out on that final corner before the pit lane, which that's where it was last year in last year's game. We pulled 2 red flags, but we had 1 retirement and a red flag for this time around. Unlucky for Lando Norris, unlucky for McLaren. Let's go ahead and take a look at the standings as the result of Monaco. Verstappen still holding on to a lead against George Russell, Lando Norris close behind, and then it's going to be Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, teammates level on points. Callie Mayer pushing to 80 points ahead of Oscar Piastri's 68, and Aiden Jackson sitting in P8 at 61. Jackson did come up into the points from his race from P15 after that red flag. Esteban Ocon running 3 stops. Because he did start on the soft tires, so he had a medium and a hard. And I honestly thought George Russell was going to come in for a late pit stop because he seemed so far ahead towards the end of the race. And then McLaren leading Ferrari by 1 point for this constructor standings. Red Bull sitting at 175, and then Mercedes sitting just slightly ahead of us at 158 and 141. We did score more points than them on this weekend, so we closed the gap as yeah, so top 5 really fighting it out. Well, Red Bull, Ferrari, and McLaren are fighting it out, and then Mercedes and Konnersport. But yeah, so pretty close race, pretty interesting race today, and I hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you guys in the next one for Spain.